Welcome everybody to another edition of FH&P Lawyers Law Talk. I'm Clay Williams. I'm a partner here at FH&P Lawyers, and we've got an interesting show today. Today, we are going to discuss the legal side of real estate deals, and with me is our associate Abu Khurana. We do a bunch of real estate deals, so we're going to talk about what lawyers do in the process and what we can do. And so I see here from your notes, you want to start with the contract of purchase and sale. And I see you brought one there. And so maybe let me throw this in here, that contract of purchase and sale is actually a document that's done jointly between the lawyers and the real estate association. So it's a contract that we can use as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. So it's definitely something that I deal with in a lot of my real estate transactions. Residential and commercial. So it's pretty important to get lawyers involved early on. Sometimes people have realtors involved, like majority of the times, but sometimes they might be doing a private real estate deal with someone they know, and they know they're interested in selling their property. There's times where when the realtor is involved, they do all the drafting, such as the contract of purchase and sale, and they basically will fill out the contract of purchase and sale based on what the buyer is looking for and trying to protect their interests.
Okay, and just let me halt there, because I think that's an important point that a lot of our viewers don't know, is that for the most part, lawyers do get we're talking residential real estate deal, there's going to be realtors involved, and we will get a filled out contract at some point.
Yeah.
But we don't have to do it that way. We can also, if you see something on the internet and you're interested in purchasing a piece of property, or you want to buy something from your neighbor or something like that, we can do the actual contract of purchase and sale as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. So with that being said, if there is someone interested in a certain particular property out there, there are many instances where we will do the CPS ourselves. Mm-hmm. And with that, we always are wanting to protect our clients' interest, obviously. So, I mean, the benefit of having a lawyer involved early on is, yes, we can draft that CPS, but then we can also make sure all your interests are protected. You're getting certain items in there, such as financing, subject to financing, title review, property inspection, and just to make sure that when you're putting that deposit down, if you don't get financing, for instance, or there's something that pops up along the lines down the road that's a red flag and you're no longer wanting to purchase this property, that you're able to get that deposit back and not be in a difficult situation where you're like, do I have to buy this or do I not have to? What happens if I don't buy this property?
The CPS, contract of purchase and sale, it is binding and governs the entire transaction. I think that's really important for our viewers to understand how important this document is. Whoever fills it out, it's got to be filled out right.
Yeah, so that's very important. So, I mean, with the CPS, like, you want to ensure it's filled out correctly. Your offer amount is proper. You have your specific subject conditions in there. And I mean, with that, it binds the whole transaction. So if there's something that you sign off on, but you don't fully understand, that's a big risk on yourself. Like, you might think that I'm making an offer to purchase this property for X amount of dollars. I trust the realtor, but if you don't fully understand what's in that contract, should you really be signing it, right? So it does come down to that, because there are certain obligations that can fall on you if you don't go complete once subjects are effectively removed and you're entered into a legally binding contract.
Well, let's talk about subjects then. And so for those of our viewers who haven't done a real estate deal, you know, when you first sign a deal, it will usually, not always, be conditional upon certain things happening. We're calling those the subjects.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so especially in these private real estate deals, I mean, realtors do put these in as well, but there are sometimes subjects that are missed. Some of those can be title review, right? Property inspection, subject to financing is a big one, right? So with that one, you give a deposit, And obviously, you're trying to get financing and talking to your brokers and seeing if you're going to get approved for this property. So once you get approved, you can go ahead and remove that financing subject condition. And I mean, title review is another important one as well, because these are things that you might not know, and you might not be able to go search what sort of covenants or right-of-ways are registered to the title of the property. So it's
a big sewer line in your backyard where you want to put that swimming pool or something like that.
Yeah, no, for sure. So you want to obviously know what you're getting yourself into effectively, and you want to know, is there anything affecting my legal interest in this property? Like, am I able to rent these two houses out on the property? Or just because the guy before you was doing that doesn't mean that's necessarily correct, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of digging that needs to be done before you remove subjects and you're effectively entering into a legally binding contract.
Well, I think it's a legally binding, but it's conditional before. But once the subjects are gone, well, you better complain, eh?
Yeah, then you're...
Now, so you like to, I think the takeaway from that is you like to see the contract before subjects are removed.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I stress that's really important to either draft the contract ourselves, which we do here at FH&P as well, or in the alternative, if you have a realtor involved, it is very important for lawyers like myself to review that contract, and then once we review it as well, then we can even do an addendum and make some additional changes to the contract just to ensure that our clients' interests are protected.
You know, just while you're talking, I was thinking about, I used the example of the sewer line in the backyard where a person wanted to build a pool, and that actually happened. And they decided this property wasn't for them. But some of the other things, what about a strata property? I mean, I guess title wouldn't be as important. Do you also review the strata document?
Yeah, so we'll review strata documents, and then, I mean, if the strata is involved in litigation as well, that's another important piece there as well, because if you're buying a strata property that's involved in legal action, you're effectively buying into a lawsuit at the same time. So that is another important one, reviewing how much budget the strata's got. Is there any levies coming up? Like how new this unit is? Like what do they have set aside if something goes wrong in the future, right? So otherwise that's coming out of the strata owner's pockets there, right? Special levies and whatnot.
I see you got some stories here you want to tell us. So to tell us horror stories. Our listeners love horror stories.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a few deals here that, where clients come in, and I mean, I've had one recently where a client came in, they removed subjects, and it looked like it was a private real estate deal. It was a private real estate deal. It was drafted by the sellers, actually, so it was a little bit weird. So the buyers came to me and they're like, hey, like, we need help with this closing. I looked at the contract and I was looking for these subject conditions there. There was financing and home inspection. That was all, right? And I mean, they had removed the subjects already, and they came to me then at that point in time, and they're like, oh, do we still have to go ahead with this property? I just got a home inspection that says there's all these red flags, right? And at that time, it's unfortunately, it might be a little too late, because you might be exposing yourself to litigation, right? And or you might lose your deposit there.
So tell us now, if you have removed subjects, what might happen other than, I mean, you're going to lose your deposit anyway if you try back out of a real estate deal after you've removed subjects, you remove the conditions. What are some of the other things that might happen? Because I think a lot of our viewers don't realize what a disaster it might be financially.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it turns into a legal battle effectively, right? So, I mean, losing the deposit is already a big enough hit in your pocket. Typically, like, you're looking at maybe like 5 to 10% deposit, and it's a lot of money with the price of real estate nowadays. And then in addition,
But the seller doesn't have to just accept the deposit. They can say, yeah, we want the deposit, but we want other stuff as well, right?
yeah, so they can effectively sue you for damages, right? And what that means is what it's going to take to make the seller whole again. So carrying costs, any mortgage fees, anything.
What about in falling real estate market too? They can't sell it for as much.
Value sells, and they sell it down the road for $100,000 less.
Right.
Right. So I mean, those are damages that the seller is now suffering because you didn't close your real estate deal, you didn't complete.
And that's one of the things we do too, is collapsing real estate deals. We'll try and negotiate that out, something less than a full-scale lawsuit.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I mean, it is very important, right? So you want to make sure from the start that you have everything covered and you actually know what you're effectively doing by removing subjects, and you understand the legal consequences that you're getting yourself into, right? So I mean, it's very important to get a lawyer involved early on and to ensure that you fully understand the nature of the contract and the nature of the transaction itself. And for another story, I also had one where this one was a little bit better because the client actually did get me involved in this deal early on. We did a title review. There's two houses on the property. In the title review, it said that only one of the houses could be rented out for residential purposes, and the second house was to be used for farm use only, right? So I mean, with this one, the buyer wasn't really aware. He is like, I talked to the seller, and he was saying that he is renting both properties out right now, and I'm like, I don't know if you can necessarily do that, because if the city comes knocking down the road and says, hey, like, you're renting both these properties out, they can effectively kick your tenant out or maybe even fine you. So the outcome of that story actually was essentially I was able to reach out to the city on behalf of my clients and get some clarification on what this actually meant. And it turned out that there was something in the covenant that was missing, and which was like a letter to the previous homeowner back in like the 1980s, showing that the city was actually okay for residential use of that property, but that's something that could have been missed. And if you don't know, you don't know at the end of the day, and it could have been a problem down the road.
Oh yeah, an important piece of paper, I guess,
for sure.
Probably added a lot of value to the property.
For sure. And I mean, I've dealt with realtors as well, and sometimes I'll just let them know that once I review the contract, like, hey, this is missing, like, I want you to add this clause. They'll go and add it themselves. So it just gives us a set of eyes for our client, and we can get whatever applicable changes that need to be done. And it's just it's helpful to have that review done, or have us do that contract at the end of the day.
It's the thing about I find about a real estate deal is if the purchaser and the seller want to make it happen, it's going to happen. It doesn't really matter what's in the contract. But we, as lawyers, we're disaster planning. So we need to make sure that everything is put together. You probably are too young for this, but I've actually done a deal that was written out on the back of a napkin. Yeah. And in that case, they wanted it to happen. And so it happened, right? But it's when things go badly, you sure want to have some help involved. Yeah. And we work with great realtors too. Yeah, I should point that out. I mean, when we say, that we'll do the contract too, but boy, some of these realtors sure do work hard at this and really work to protect their clients as well. All right, so we're running out of time. And so can you go give us your top 3 takeaways for our viewers here?
The first takeaway I want the viewers to take home with them today after listening to our podcast is the contract and purchase of sale is not just a form. This protects your legal interests and rights, and small words in these contracts can make a big difference. So the second point I want the viewers to take home today is the importance of subject conditions. These are very important, and we want clients to allow us to do our due diligence and really flush out if they want to buy this property or not. And the third point, get us involved early. We want to see the contract before the subjects are removed.
All right. Well, thank you, Abu. So for our viewers, hopefully you've learned something about what we as lawyers do behind the scenes for your real estate deal. And I'll see you next time.